standing here today with actually some butterflies in my tummy. And this doesn't happen every time I stand in front of people. It does happen sometimes. It happens today because of something that happened to me yesterday. Yesterday I sat in front of, yesterday I did one of these talks. And at the end of the talk, one of the people came up to me and told me about a movie they'd seen. And basically said, hey, what you do is pretty much exactly the same as what they do in that movie. And I thought, cool. This will be like a Tony Robbins type movie, something like that. I went home and watched it, and it was the most evil thing I have seen. And I'm thinking to myself, but that's not what I do. I don't. It was seriously about mind control, and that's not what I do. A lot of people actually think that's what I do. What I do is about teaching people how to use their own mind. Okay, I say up there that the beliefs are physical, and I guess what I mean by that is that every belief, every thought we have has some sort of a physical representation in our body, and that's pretty much what I mean by that. So let's test this. What I'd like you to do is just for this moment, think about this inside of your mouth. Feel what you feel inside your mouth. Okay? Notice what the inside of your mouth feels like. Now, I'd like you to imagine that just imagine that I'm holding a piece of lemon. And just imagine that I take a bite of that lemon. There's a little bit of salt on it, and there's no tequila. Okay? Now, what I'd like you to do is take notice of your mouth again. Is it moister? Is there more saliva in your mouth right now? Every thought we have has a physical representation. The thought of me walking up here today got my stomach going, ching, 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 ching. It's Robin, isn't it?
Yes.
Robin gave us a very clear representation of how a thought, and that thought is, I don't want to talk in front of these people today, can totally take over a person's body. Am I right?
Yes.
Hypnosis can help with that. Okay. Sorry, I've started my talk off totally differently to the way I normally do because of experience and the fact that, yeah, I needed to. Let's, just for the hell of it, test hypnotizability. Okay? Normally I run through a list of types of people. Okay? If anybody walks into one of my presentations, one of my offices, wearing purple, they're immediately hypnotizable. Okay? It is the colour of hypnosis. The list I go through, age, if you're young, if you're under 25, have I got that working right? Okay. If you're under 25, if you're female, if you were born in the country, if you were born or of Indian, that wider area, Southern Asia, the Middle East, if you're born in that area, much more hypnotisable. We actually had a famous hypnotist called Esdale. Esdale worked for the East India Company in the 1800s. In India, during the 1800s, he was a Scottish bloke. He performed over 300 operations, and I'm talking pet income operations, where he actually cut people open, took out cancers, took out this, took out that. In the 1840s, there was no anaesthetic. He did it with hypnosis. He then went back to Scotland, and he had nowhere near as much success on the people of Scotland that he did of the people in India. And that's where it sort of came across that people in that part of the world are a little bit more hypnotisable than we are. And if you like yoga, sorry, I'm pointing at you again, aren't I? And again, yoga comes from the Indian continent, is something that works. If you're artistic, you're a musician, artistic and writer, it's that type of creative type personality, immediately I would look at you as someone who is a little bit more hypnotisable. Okay? If you have purple hair, love it. Just love everything about it.
I don't know it's purple. I thought it's red.
Do you think it's red? See, every time I often look at what my wife calls red and call it purple. But my wife says it's red, and I say no way. But maybe I'm just looking for the right guy. Let's test.
I'm coming from Northern Europe. I don't think so.
No, no, that's actually Andrew, an accountant. Yes, this is getting harder every moment. Okay, let's test. Let's see who of us is a little bit hypnotisable. And then maybe a lot hypnotisable. Put your hands up like that. Actually, I saw it done like this yesterday with the different finger. Now, it's amazing in a room like this, business people, often right-brain thinkers, will, without even being asked, creatively look at that and visualise a layer of superglue in between those two fingers and feel it stick together. It's amazing. And what I'd like you to do is just try and open those fingers. If you find you can't, put your hand straight up in the air. 1, 2, 3. Isn't that exciting? Would you like to come and stand out the front with me, the people with their fingers stuck together?
Why not?
Now this is going to be everybody. Don't you want to come up, Julie? This is going to be everybody. So I'll get you to stand in front of the chair. It's not actually... do you want to come up? It's Bob, isn't it?
Yeah. I was able to do that.
No.
It was Nathan.
Nathan, would you like to come up? Good. Okay, so this is for everybody, but these are my demonstrators. Okay? What I'd like you to do is put your hands up.
Sorry.
Hands up like this.
We're just practicing our
Practicing? No, there will be no quacking, there will be no clucking. Okay, interlock your fingers. Perfect. Now, in a moment, not yet, but in a moment, I'm going to ask you to lift your fingers up like that. When you do, look directly in between them, focus on the gap in between those fingers, and imagine that there's a magnet in the tip of each one. And those magnets are north-south, so they pull together. Ready? Go. Look between the fingers, focus between those fingers, and notice those magnets starting to pull them together. Isn't that amazing how quickly they pull together? Now put them back up, Julie, because now what I'd like you to do, particularly the ones up the front, but if your fingers are there, keep them up, keep them together, and now imagine that those magnets are getting stronger and stronger and larger, and imagine that they're flowing down into between your hands. Imagine that now those magnets are encompassing your entire hand. And as those magnets start to pull tighter and tighter, feel them get stronger, like an electromagnet, pushing your hands together, pushing your fingers tighter and tighter, pushing the whole lot together so that it feels like it is one solid piece of metal. One solid piece of metal. Now put your arms straight out in front of you like that, all the way out in front of you like that. Now try and pull your hands apart and find you can't. Those hands are stuck totally together. Try and pull your hands apart and find you can't. Isn't that amazing? Even over here we've got one. Now if I tap that, they'll just come apart. Watch, oh, you're fine. Come on, another one. Sorry. I don't want to leave people like this all day. I've got to work today. Ready? Done. Okay. Now, here's the exciting thing. Here is the exciting thing. We're small business people. Have you ever been stuck?
Where?
Stuck? No, you're a writer. You've been stuck, haven't you?
Stuck every day.
Very good. Okay.
Don't tell me that.
Hands straight out in front of you, hands stuck together. Stuck is transferable. Stuck is in the mind. If you want to take that stuck and just move it away, you can. Watch. Can I start with you, Joy? We'll put feet about shoulder length apart. Step one forward. Just a little bit. So toe and heel are in alignment. Now watch this stuck. When I tap there, they will bring apart. And they will move straight to that foot. Up the arm, down the body, stick the foot to the ground. I'm getting old. I'm actually doing some work here. Are we ready? Okay, watch your foot. This will spring apart, that will stick to the floor. 1, 2, 3, done. That's stuck to the floor. Now, ready?
Yeah.
All the way up there, zap, stick to the floor. 1, 2, 3, done. Isn't that amazing? Okay, one more. Are we ready? All the way up the arm, straight down the side, stuck to the floor. 1, 2, 3, stuck. Now, you can take stuck. You can take stuck and you can just move it away. But here's what we do. We make stuck stronger. We go, my God, I'm stuck, I can't do anything. I don't know what to do. Our beliefs tell us that stuck is hard. And we expand stuff. We expand stuff to make it stronger. Watch. Julie, over your hand. Now feel that stuck come up along the hand to there. Got it? Stuck. Now I can actually take that hand off very easily. But when it goes back on, if I can click, and I can't click today, it will stick 10 times tighter. So what we do with stuck is we make it worse. So now she's standing there, her foot stuck to there, and the hand stuck to the head. Unable to move. Try as hard as you can to pull that hand off your head, and it's not going anywhere, is it? Okay. Could you just sit down, please, Julie? Your foot's free, but your arm has just doubled up. It's double as stuck. Double as stuck. And you've seen this, so I'm really taking a risk here. Here's a big lesson. Try as hard as you can. If you can take that hand from your head and grab that $50, it's yours. I'll do it. As hard as you... No. This hand here. Okay. $100. $300. Okay. 2 lessons. Who'd like to guess what the lessons are? Okay. Would you like to sit? We'll move this in nice and close. Your leg is free, as is yours. Your leg is free. Okay. Very close. Okay. 2 lessons. What do you think those lessons might be? And this is another thing that got me yesterday. If I say, who employs people here? What motivates your employees?
The way you communicate with them.
Okay, interesting. Who thinks money motivates your employees? Thank you. Because so many times I walk into a business like this, a business club, and I've been in these business clubs for 25 years. I've been coming to these business clubs. And I've been saying to myself and to all of the people in the club, money doesn't motivate your employees. But I, for 20 years, would try and use money to motivate my employees. And I wonder, is that what we're saying or is that what we're believing? Because I think, who's ever had this happen? Walk up to the fridge, open the door, there's 2 pieces of cake, and you say, it's okay, I'll just have one of them. But somewhere in the back of your subconscious mind, it says, no, you always have 2 pieces. Which one's right? The belief that I always have 2 pieces of cake, actually it's 2 bowls of ice cream for me, that's what wins. And I only realised last night when I had a shocking day yesterday. Total, here's a meme for Facebook, I've got to tell you this. Here I am last night sitting on the floor of my shower. My wife opens the door, sorry about that visual. My wife opens the door and says, do you have a headache? No. Are you depressed? Sorry? Are you depressed? Yes. Do you have razor blades? No. Fine, on with it then. Door shut. And I thought, that is, and here I was thinking, I should write that on Facebook. Hasn't the world changed? And I don't know where that came from. But yeah, our mind, our beliefs tell us what to do. And every one of these talks that I've done, and it's been KBN and there've been other groups I've spoken to, have said, no, it's not money. Thank you. It's not money that motivates our people. The question is, do we go out and do our actions show that it's not money? Or do our actions show that it is money? That's my real question there. Lesson number 2. Anyone want to guess what lesson number 2 with that? What were we going to do? $300, Julie. $300.
This hand I could have, we can have a list.
$300. Julie is an entrepreneur. She's been entrepreneuring it for 20 years?
No, 10.
10 years. 10 years she's been an entrepreneur. I showed her where the money is. And she couldn't reach out and grab it. And that is a lesson all business owners need to learn. We know where the money is. We know that if we go and pick up that phone and we call 10 clients or 10 prospective clients, there's going to be some money coming the door. But do we? Do we pick up that phone and call them? We know where the money is, we just don't reach for it. And our beliefs are telling us one thing that may or may not be right. Okay, let's move on. Now this should be interesting. Could I ask you two just to sit back a little bit? Julie, are you hypnotised? No? What I'd like you to do is find something to focus on. I see a red light up there. Can you see that red light? Focus on that red light. Okay, now take a deep breath in. And out. And I shouldn't focus on sending myself there. Okay. One more. In. And out. And sleep. Deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you feel. The better you feel, the deeper you go. I'm going to count from 5 back to 1. And with every number I say, you can drop deeper and deeper into this beautiful hypnotic trance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Mandy.
Mandy, are you hypnotised?
No.
Okay. Would you like to focus on that red light? And just take a nice deep breath. And out. Another one. And sleep. And again, I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Nathan. Do you see where that red light is? Focus on that red light. Deep breath. Sleep. Okay. I'm just going to take this arm, I'm going to lift it out there, and it's going to lock into position. Totally, completely locked. As if it's a solid piece of steel. Unable to move, locked at the elbow, locked at the wrist. Just tighten those. Julian, just going to grab your arm too. And lock. Fist. Tightly. And Nathan, I'll just take this hand, please. Bring it right up there. And lock. Fist tight. Totally welded, like it's a solid piece of steel welded at the shoulder right there. Locked at the elbow, locked at the wrist. Okay, lock that one there. Try over here. Locked, totally locked at the shoulder, unable to move. Locked at the elbow, locked at the wrist, welded at the shoulder. Okay, concentrate there. Tight. There we go. Little tightness there. Tighter. Oh, that springs back up. It's really quite tight. Now, what I'd like you to look at there is that's pretty tight. She's not quite there, but it's pretty tight. Now, I'm just going to take your other hand, and it's totally completely relaxed. And one more time. And yours, Julie. Totally completely. Julie's really good at this. And that arm's locked. Totally tight. And this is focus. The focus that I'm talking about here is something that you really don't run across very often. I believe in a state called flow. My belief, from what I've read, what I've heard, the people I've listened to, is that it takes 20 minutes to get into flow of complete focus. Now, normally, if I was to put my arm out and try and lock it, what would happen is this arm would go stiffer than it would normally be. As would my legs, as would this half of my body would go stiffer than it would normally be. And then, well, let's try it. Bob, do you want to come up here? Okay. Well, stand you just behind me, and I'll get you. Let me look at your eyes. Good. I've brought people up here who are hypnotised, and I'll go out like that, and they'll do exactly what they've done, and it totally destroys my... Okay, take that arm up. Okay, now, lock it tight. And lock it tight as you can. Tighter. Okay, go tighter again. See that shoulder come up? Okay, this arm here is nowhere near relaxed. How about your legs? Are they feeling relaxed? Well, they're not, are they? They're actually taking some of the energy of that focus out. They're taking that energy, and now, okay, we've got no spring back, and the arm really isn't tight at all. Even though you're actually trying there, aren't you? Yeah. And you're trying, but you're taking that focus and you're spreading it throughout your whole body. These people, in hypnosis, are able to put that focus in one place and one place only, and that is exciting. Thanks very much, Bob. I appreciate that. Okay. Has that 5 gone up yet? So, did I miss it?
No,
You missed it. Okay, so we're getting very close. What I'll do is I'll just let you relax that down. And Julie, I'll let you relax that down. And I'll let you relax that down as well. And now, on the count of 3, I'm going to ask the 3 of you to come back to me. When you come back to me, it will be like you've had a good 8 hours sleep. It will be like you are energized and ready to work in your business like you've never worked in your business before. 1, 2, feel that energy bubbling up from the floor. 3, come back to me. Sitting up straight, sitting up nice. So I've found at this point in the presentation, no one wants to ask me a question, but everyone wants to ask them. So who'd like to ask one of our volunteers here a question? What was it like then, Jim?
You can actually hear everything. So you're aware of everything that's happening, but you can't move.
even though you were asleep.
Well, they're not actually asleep. That's. I guess I didn't bring that point quite out. They're not asleep. They are focused. They are highly focused. They are in a trance, but they are focused on what they're doing. I was speaking to a guy not so long ago who is a internet programmer, and he will sit and focus on that screen, and his fingers will work, and 8 hours later, they'll come back. And that's total focus on what he's doing, and that's what they were doing. They were actually focusing on my voice and on what I was saying, and pretty much nothing else. Am I right in saying that? Mm. And in doing that, it gives me a bit of a big ego hit, but the ability to focus on one thing is something we don't have, especially in this world. Our social media, saying emails, saying Facebook notifications, saying Instagram's going bleak, all of this stuff, doing this, is taking our focus away. And when you get into flow, you can work 7 times more productively than you do if you don't. And that's studies that are out there that I'm not going to point to because I have a dyslexic mind, and that's a fact, that doesn't remember that stuff. But if I wanted to point you to, I could probably find them. But flow gets things done 7 times as fast. Now just imagine if what you're doing could happen in 1/7 of the time. Okay, this is what we're looking at when we look at Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. He gets into flow. Actually, that guy works 100 hours a week, but if you were in that situation where you wanted to get into that flow, you could do what you're doing now in 1/7 of the time. And if you were doing what you're doing now in 1/7 of the time, maybe you would work for 2/7 of the time, and that would give you double your productivity, half or a third of your time used, and then you can use that for what? Maybe you want to use it for your family. Maybe you want to use it to go out and play golf. Maybe you want to use it to go out and network, to get more business, so that you can build yourself up to 3/7 of what you were doing before. And that is how it's amazing. It is amazing what the mind can do. I've shown you here how I can show these 3. I'm saying this very carefully because yesterday really got me. Thank you. Really got me. These volunteers here have it over you because they're actually good at it already. But it's a skill. It's a practiced skill. My ability to show you how to do it so quickly, or to show any of you how to do it slowly, or not as quickly, is a learned skill. It is not a it's not a gift. It's something I have spent time learning how to do. Learning how to speak to the subconscious minds of other people. And learning how to teach you how to speak to your own subconscious minds. And that is an important thing. That is a vitally important thing, because our subconscious minds are generally saying to us stupid things. And they're saying those stupid things because, well, number one, they're good things. Number one, they're bad things. You know, females in particular have someone sitting on their shoulder telling them that they're fat, they're ugly, they're not worth it. Us boys do too. We just don't talk about it as much. And I have no idea where I was heading from there. But I think I'm just about done.
Can you give an example of practicality of using what you explained here?
Okay. Practicality, I'll talk about 3 recent people that I've worked with, okay? And I'm very new to this business, and people don't trust the word hypnotist. So the people I've done, a lot of it's been street-type hypnotism like I've done here. One lady 3 weeks ago walked up to me and said, I can't lose the weight. I said, fine, what don't you want to eat? She said, I'd like not to eat bread, and she loved bread. By the time 10 minutes was past, she no longer loved bread. She actually detested it. 2 weeks later, I hear back, haven't eaten a slice of bread, and I'm getting really pissed off with my husband because he keeps eating in front of me. Okay. Another lady was a financial planner, and she would check the work that came through. And she would write the programs, write out the paperwork. And apparently, who's the financial planner? There is a ton of it. And she would check it over and over and over again. And like I said at the beginning of the day, she now does in 6 hours what used to take her 30 hours to do. And that comes down to that flow. For her, it was a little bit different to flow because she was just a little bit OCD. And number 3, a young mother came up to me. I am exhausted. I am totally exhausted. And I said, then do this, and we did some hypnosis. I showed her how to put herself into hypnosis. Hypnosis, 10 minutes of it is worth an hour and a half sleep. So if you are sleep deprived, I think Robin would agree with me because yoga is very much follows in the same line that I follow. And hour and a half extra sleep by 10 minutes of self-hypnosis can only be a good thing.
What about people suffering depression or stress, does that?
Yeah. Look, every feeling, every thought we have has a corresponding something. Now, something may be a feeling in the body. It may be something you see. It may be something you smell. If you take that and change it, all of a sudden the thought you have changes. And that's a much longer story. And I think I'm done for the day because I saw a smiley face. Can I have a round of applause for my volunteers? Thank you very much.